Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Hope everybody is doing well out there.
Indeed we do.
Please do subscribe both channels, Evolutionary Energy Arts and EEARTS. Make sure you get that little bell clicked, and hopefully you guys will be notified. Though, again, we understand we are in a war about consciousness. It's all about consciousness, and of course the controllers are trying to control the narrative.
100%.
So today, doing mantras, and last night too, it just kept coming through to just speak a little bit more about chakras as gateways to consciousness.
They're very important, and many of us have gone through traumas in our lives, not necessarily due to ourselves, but due to the circumstances in which we find ourselves in, being born into a system that is cut out for those that they call themselves elites. I find them to be parasites, but that system is cut out for them, and it can really bring a lot of damage to those who don't function well in the system, or they don't lock themselves, or they're not capable of locking themselves into the system, and this can cause a lot of trauma, and it's deliberate too.
Oh, it's just so obviously deliberate, and you understand the bigger picture so clearly when you recognize that this is all about us grounding ourselves in this reality, and yet it's in order to explore the higher densities from a new perspective after having learned many new things from being in this reality. And when I say that, I'm talking about the original intent before the hijacking that has occurred by this, artificial intelligence. Yes, there still would be the cycles of the yugas without the artificial intelligence and draconian influence. We still would have a natural cycle to things where we kind of get this amnesia, kind of losing track of exactly who we are, because it is kind of part of the journey is to lose ourselves. Think about it. Do you ever get into a project so intently, or maybe a hobby, that you forget about everything? You just forget about everything. Maybe it's a song. Maybe it's just being out in nature. It just washes everything away, and it's something that brings you into the moment. That can be such a powerful tool for learning.
It's really one of those things that we could use and practice it a little bit every day to pull yourself into the moment.
One thing that I'd love to get across is something that maybe you've thought about, maybe you haven't. What if we were past this whole drama that we see unfolding in this third density, fourth density loop that we find ourselves in? What would it be like? What would we do? Well, we'd probably go explore. If we had a fully activated Merkaba light body, we're not, just limited to being wherever our physical body is. We can move out and beyond. And many can, even right now in these times. There are many that have activated their light bodies and explore other, not just planets, not just solar systems, but galaxies, even perhaps other universes. And again, we do recognize that having a 3D physical body is something that's a temporary experience. Again, we are having a human experience. Doesn't mean we are eternally humans.
Mm-hmm. In our human form, our 3D form is a very dense form. It's plasma, but it is always moving, and it's always listening for instruction too.
And when we go on up through the densities, we find that there's all new things to explore. But how can we climb upward when we're just stuck in the lower self, as so many people are? And this is why the system is the way it is. It keeps us stuck in the lower self. For the greater part, some people can move on and move up into the higher energy centers and start to explore things that people that are just stuck in the lower nature, they just can't even relate to. And that's really, really so sad. But that's what the system does. It keeps us basically concerned solely with just survival.
And once we recognize that for what it is, we can really start to get busy and get ourselves out of that lower field. But it takes time and it takes some healing, because remember, that trauma anchors us.
Now, there's many things that the chakras are concerned with. They have more than one particular quality to each one of them. But you can say that the root chakra is about survival. It's really about survival. It's about grounding. It's about rooting, as it is called, the root chakra. But it is definitely a physical survival chakra first in many ways. Because again, if the body is lost, then this whole experience is lost at this particular density. We're not necessarily lost as a consciousness, but the experience. We need the vehicle for the experience. So one of the things that does block the root chakra is fear. And again, when we look to the system that's out there, it's all about fear. Again, this is when we term things in terms of loosh, that negative energy that's created when we live a fear-based existence. We want to move beyond it. And this is something that Cindy and I struggle with every day. How much do we cover what's going on in the world? Well, we need to draw new people in to awaken the sparks of curiosity in them that leads to them understanding how the system is developed to keep conscious at a lower frequency. That's kind of our main thing, is to awaken the masses. This is really why we came here. And there are many out there that once they are awakened, they'll go to higher, levels. And in this time too, it's so much more about finding your own creative way of doing that, instead of always following certain prescribed paths. But there are definitely certain traditions, certain practices that can help almost universally.
Yes, very, very much so. And they're definitely not taught in any basic school. They're not taught in any church. They're not taught in the Bible. But these are the things we need to know to help heal our bodies.
So just to touch on the other ones, the sacral chakra, you can say it deals with pleasure, can be blocked by guilt. Solar plexus, all about the will. The I am chakras, blocked by shame, amongst other things. The heart deals with love, blocked by grief. Again, can't we see what's going on when we look at what is happening out there in the world, and how what they're doing is blocking our chakras every time they have the opportunity. Throat chakra deals with truth, blocked by lies. And when we say something that we know is truth and they come back with their, no, that's a lie. No, it's the truth. We know it's the truth. No, that's a lie. It can cause frustration. It can cause us to have a blocked throat chakra.
Well, and I don't know, that brings me to a vocabulary word that I know called gaslighting. And it's very, very frustrating. And the whole relationship that we have with this country, it is a very, very big narcissistic-like relationship.
Yeah, and this planet in this system, third eye, deals with insight blocked by illusions. It's one illusion after another. Crown chakra deals with pure cosmic energy and is blocked by earthly attachments. So again, the puppet masters themselves that are controlled by the higher puppet masters, they might have lives of luxury with billions of dollars in their bank account, but they're stuck because they've basically sold their soul to be in the position that they're in. And they've created this negative karma loop for themselves. And they've also just basically tied a lead weight around them that they cannot go higher.
And eventually, if they do want to go higher, you really got to pay back that karma. It's a response. It's just something that is a it must be.
The root chakra, the Muladhara chakra. Again, the location's base of the spine. It's all about survival, vitality, stability, security, color red. And so one of the mantras you could do is Lam. You can also do Gam, and we'll talk about that as well as others. There's always alternatives. Now, if balanced, you feel secure. You have humility. You're grounded, stable, energetic. You typically have the optimal weight, healthy eating habits, proper elimination. If unbalanced, insecure, fear, anxiety, unstable, low self-esteem, anemia, over or underweight, and constipation. Think about this affirmation for the root chakra. I am safe. I am safe on earth. My life is abundant in all respects. What do we see? We see the threat of nuclear war, World War III. We see, terrorism, things like that. We see lockdown. We see hyperinflation. We see the economic system heading for collapse, the real estate market heading for collapse. Everything that would attack the root chakra. This is how they ground us in survival mode, by constantly threatening our very security.
Mm-hmm. They do, and they're very, very good at it. And then they really kind of put this pretend illusion on that, this is what we have, and we all must be in fear constantly. And that's really, really hard to be there, because it'll start to deteriorate your 3D body. So sometimes we really have to look at things for what they are and decide in our hearts, do you want to feel safe? And if you do, create your safe space. We all can create our own surroundings.
They even do it with our belief systems as well, because they put that into your mind, that if you aren't good, you might go to a place where you're eternally tormented, and that is really sick and sadistic when you get down to it, because reality's not like that. We can create our own hells. As Buddha said, the only hells that exist are in the minds of the believers. It's what we gravitate to. And again, the future is not fixed. Of course, there are some likelihoods of certain outcomes, depending on who's controlling what to what degree, but this is how we have to take control of our own reality back at the same time. And if we can't feel safe and we can't feel secure, then how could we go higher? This is exactly why you see all the chaos you do.
Mm-hmm. And it causes all kinds of medical problems.
Absolutely. And so, this particular one has other things as well, like, the root chakra being associated with the kidneys. Kidneys, that's where the life force is stored that you inherited from your parents. And so it's also known as Jing. And it's also, when we look at the kidneys and the emotions associated to them, the negative emotions would be fear. And again, fear is the thing that unroots us. We can see this. We can see how these colors, each color is a frequency. Each frequency is basically a portal to another density as well. And we were talking about the 7 angels and the 7 churches relating to the 7 chakras. Well, there are also Devas, or in the Hindu system, the Devas are angelic beings of a sort. And they're associated with each of the chakras as well. And you'll find, just like in any system, you'll find sometimes overlapping or different deities associated. And Cindy runs into this all the time with astrology, where you'll have multiple deities associated with different stars. And
well, some do have more pull than others, or some have more of an influence on your life than others. It depends on what planet it is. It depends on, the rising sign. The nakshatras are very, very valuable for finding out more about yourself, but each planet has a nakshatra. So, and this goes into what kind of personality you might have based on this planet, which is tied to which chakra. It does get detailed, which is nice, because depending on what you really want to know, we can go into that deeper.
Yes. And, chakra can be defined as a wheel spinning. They are always, well, they should be spinning. When they're not spinning, we're having issues. Absolutely. And sometimes they actually spin in reverse. We'll find them going the opposite way.
Yes, I've seen that too. And what that can do is really, really drain you or kind of throw you off.
And here you see 13 energy centers of our galaxy. Everybody has their different take on the number. And again, I think it's really related to how much you can see and how far you can see. Because in reality, I don't know where the limit is when you get down to things like this. But one thing I thought is curious too is when we think about the galaxy, think about our own Milky Way. It's spiraling, right? It is not spiraling, just like a chakra. As above, so below. When we look at all these galaxies out there, and we've seen some amazing photos, and let me hand this off, of galaxies now with some of the telescopes that are out there.
I mean, it's really breathtaking, and to understand how we are so tied in with the whole complex of the all, I mean, we cycle with the moon. I mean, the moon does control a whole lot of our being, a whole lot of our natural processes, our emotions, and all of this information is tied in. We are directly tied into the cosmos. So the more we can blend with the all, the more we can be at a pattern with the all, the better we're going to function. Things are just going to flow freely, but that does take some time and practice.
Yeah. So again, when we think about the chakras, they're energy vortices. They're spinning vortices. They're in some ways, again, they're the microcosm of the macrocosm as we look at the galaxies out there. And as we were saying, we've gotten so many. Is that the Horsehead Nebula? No, maybe that one's a different one. That's an amazing one. But when you look at what we can see out there, very much these are, of course, these are gateways to new experiences, new places to venture and learn. We were blessed with a galactic visitor the other night that came through. And, again, the way that this visitor termed it, is they said they're not from our galaxy, but they enjoy coming through. And, again, they're not coming through in a physical body. They're coming through as an energetic waveform. And this is more the nature of all of our consciousness, energetic waveforms. This is, again, the as above, so below. We're having a temporary human experience. Temporary. We are pure energy. We are pure consciousness. This is what we are. We can explore all different realities, and we do. Now, again, the distortion is the controller's distortion. Why? To keep us locked down where we can be usable to them. And really that's it. Because they can't go higher. They're stuck. They are so stuck. And, at some point in time, and it might be a very long time, they'll have to work on freeing themselves and come to certain realizations. And of course, obviously, there's going to be a lot of karma to work through. So Sanskrit is as ancient a language as we have that we understand and know about. We know there's some proto-languages, some languages that come before it, but we don't have them yet, and we don't, understand what they would be per se. So Sanskrit is fascinating. Some have actually even equated it to a computer language. There's 50 sounds that come from Sanskrit, and each one of them, done in a certain combination, can help to open up the gateways, the chakras, for consciousness. And this is one of the reasons why we do mantras, because the mantras have been put together, and most of these, many of these mantras, come from the Vedas, which are far older than what they say. They've been put together in ways that they open up the doorways for our consciousness to explore. They unlock the doorways. I've practiced Qigong for over 35 years, and yet it wasn't until doing the mantras on a daily basis that I had achieved like the type of growth that I really, really wanted to achieve, and started to perceive things in all new ways. And the Qigong is wonderful, but the mantras, they are so powerful. And again, I can't understate how beneficial they can be for our consciousness. I feel that they are leftover teachings from the golden age that we could still tap into golden age knowledge, golden age wisdom, golden age ways to connect us back to the Vedic and the higher realms where the truly benevolent beings are, that really just want to help us learn, help us understand how this multiverse works.
Mm-hmm. And it is a way to repattern your body, repattern your form, because ultimately everything is a pattern. Things run in patterns. So if you're in the same pattern of the all, things are going to go smoother for you. So if you take the time before you go to the store, or before you go to an interview, or before you take a test, to sit and do some of these mantras and pattern yourself, things are just going to be a lot better. They're going to go a lot smoother. It does take a little time, and it doesn't have to be difficult. It can just work with the sounds.
Absolutely. So I'll have all these links for you, but you could see some of the sounds associated, again, per se, with the root chakra. Vam, Sam, and others, again. Now, those are also what we would call bija or seed mantras. One that definitely works, and you cannot underestimate it, as Ganesha's mantra, I've felt light up the root chakra and help just basically purge away any blockages along my entire Sushumna channel, the central channel, and actually create this feeling and effect of Seshanaga hovering over my crown chakra. And that's when I recognized that all those depictions of Vishnu with Seshanaga encircling him is just basically an allegory to the fact that the Kundalini is completely activated and is fully functioning. And when that happens, then the gateways are wide open for our consciousness.
Mm-hmm. It's something that takes a lot of time, and you want to go slow with that. It's nothing that you want to rush. Absolutely no rush.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give you an illustration of what I'm kind of talking about. And again, this is kind of that depiction. Whenever you see Vishnu, and here you see Vishnu and Lakshmi, these depictions of Seshanaga always around his head, you might think, oh, that's the serpent. And then, of course, what does the Bible tell us? Oh, that ancient serpent. Yes, of course, because the controllers don't want you awakening your Kundalini energy. And like Cindy said, again, it needs to be done slowly. And I think probably the safest way to do it is through mantra practice with meditation, and not having it be the goal, but it becomes the side effect when you're ready. Again, we have to work through all the things that hold us back. Everything that holds us back has to be worked through. We have to let go of things. And, I felt very, very painful blocks in my heart chakra when I was moving the energy out of the heart chakra and upwards. And again, if I didn't have my decades of doing the Qigong to help smooth it out, it could have been hazardous, absolutely. There's many people that have literally gone insane or had other issues that threaten their lives when we are awakening this energy. Because again, we have to do it gradually. It's just like plugging in something of super high amperage. Like if you, anybody out there that has an RV or something like that, and you plug it in to a line that's not capable of handling the power, you just can short everything out. And that's something that is possible. So again, we want to proceed slowly and cautiously. Ganesha gives us a great foundation. Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. We've done 2 videos, I think, on his mantra. It's under the mantra playlist. And the mantra is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha Sharanam Ganesha. And Sharanam is basically like when you say Sharanam Ganesha, you're just sort of saying, I'm giving you all my worries, and I think you are going to take them away from me. The things that worry me, the things that scare me, the things that are hindering my growth, I put on you, and I trust that you will take them away. And Namaha is basically, it's a word of respect. It's a greeting of respect. It's like as if you were greeting them in person and you bow or you curtsy. And Om is the sound of the universe. Ganapatiye is another name for Ganesha. And Ganas are basically the demons that we fight every day. So in a way, he is the destroyer or the controller of the dark energies that get in our way every single day. And Gam, again, that's the root of his name, and it's also a root sound for our root chakra.
Mm-hmm. Right. And giving yourself that time that it takes for everything to safely move forward. And, I've heard from people, well, I really feel like I'm healed. I don't know why I'm not feeling anything. And really, that's in control of the higher self. When the higher self decides things are ready to move, then they do. And then other times people might say, well, how do I know if something is completely healed? It's an inner knowing, and it's that emotion whenever a certain something comes up and you're no longer in pain and you're really quite indifferent about it, well, then something has healed. And there's always going to be these gray areas, and feelings of uncertainty. But when everything is done, when everything is healed, and when everything is working as it should, you will feel that healing essence. And this is kind of the emotion that we want to have in place when we're doing the mantras. We want to have a goal in our mind's eye of how we want to feel, like the best version of ourselves possible. We want to hold that in our mind's eye, because the subconscious has a way of listening to that pattern and then getting us to that place where we want to be. And it's always looking for instruction. It's going to find those instructions in the mind's eye. So understand that your thoughts are so extremely important, because there is a being inside of you that is going to look for instructions and listen to what is given. So our thoughts are so important to keep those up. And if they're not, we have to work through them. We have to talk through them. We have to write through them. We have to deal with them.
I think writing is really important, putting things down. And, we've also, and you've talked about it many times to people, write down that which comes to you in meditation, and maybe it's something that you end up reciting as a mantra, or maybe it's something you end up burning, saying this is no longer serving me, and just do a little ritual where you burn it and watch it disappear into the ether.
Mm-hmm. And then it has been processed, and sometimes if it comes up again, well, you do it again, you process it another way. Our emotions, they are to be expressed. That's what they're created for expressional purposes. So if we're stuffing a lot of emotions deep down inside of us, that's going to create blocks. That's going to create situations in our body that create a 3D problem. And the emotions are so very important to really work with those. And I always like to say, these dark ages, they have a lot to do with the darkness and our inability to really understand emotions and the importance of them, and what trauma does to send these emotions off in a wrong direction, not due to any fault of our own, but different traumas. So it is something that we really need to work on, and we are, and we will, as we move up, in this spiral where we're moving up into enlightenment. We start to learn these things, and this is what we see happening now, is understanding how important emotions really are.
And then we have Lakshmi. And so it's interesting too because, Lakshmi can represent many things. Abundance comes to mind immediately. And when you think of abundance, it's not necessarily abundance of cash, houses, gold, jewels. No. Abundance of love, peace, prosperity, enjoyment. And, being able to enjoy our existence too. And because I have such an innate dislike for the system and have recognized pretty much my entire life that there's something very wrong with the system on this planet, I've always been turning away that which she's been trying to bless me with. And she did come through to multiple people that were gifted psychically after working on them, having sessions with them and saying, by the way, there's this Hindu-looking woman that keeps giving me a message to tell you stop pulling away the things that I'm trying to give to you. And so that was Lakshmi. And Lakshmi and Ganesha both came to me in the same time frame, right next to each other. And they do work together. You will see depictions. You'll see statues of Lakshmi and Ganesha together. And you might question that because, according to the legends, Ganesha is the son of Shiva and Parvati. And Lakshmi is the consort, of Vishnu, the partner of Vishnu. So why would Ganesha be working with Lakshmi? Well, because Lakshmi, we can also relate to the sacral chakra, which is right above the root chakra. So if you want to do a mantra to help free that chakra and open that chakra, it would be Om Shrim Maha Lakshmiye Namaha. And Shrim, you can also just do these bijas, these roots, these seed mantras. So, there is also a different one invoking all the energies of the Divine Mothers going through their particular bija sounds. So again, Shrim is Lakshmi's bija or seed sound. And of course, again, Om is the sound of creation of the universe itself. Maha means great. And then again, Lakshmi, her name, and Namaha is like a salutation and a greeting. Again, it's traditional to do in cycles of 108 repetitions. Also, sometimes people will do them just in cycles of 9 repetitions as well. But this can open up the sacral chakra after the root. So traditionally we do Ganesha first, Lakshmi second, and that's really what I think, speaking for myself, that's the pattern I always start at, and then I go from there into other ones. And I notice that Cindy pretty much does the same.
Yeah, I pretty much do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to share those with you guys. And this one has a list of some other mantras that you might find that you're interested in as well, as we'll share all these links with you guys. You got to recognize that what we see is so little of what we are. I mean, it's just a tiny fraction of what we are. A tiny fraction. It's not even close to being anywhere near a greater percentage. This body that we inhabit is just... it's just a temporary ride. It's like, in so many ways, like going to an amusement park. Think about this. Think about how long the drive is to go to the amusement park. Think about how long you wait in line to go on your favorite ride, how long that ride actually lasts. And then think about how much you talk about it and share that experience with others later.
Mm-hmm. And, it's meant to be created in a way that we only experience so much, because each experience is to be really rich and offer us a lot of spiritual experiences that we can contain in this lifetime. So we're not meant to really understand everything. And I think that's what the human mind, it's easier if it can find acceptance in it's okay to not know. And it's okay to not have experiences this way. Maybe you have them in another way. And just know that they're your very own experiences and they're yours and they're gifts, and allow them to move through you in whichever way that they're supposed to.
And we'll give you something to meditate on. As above, so below, as within, so without. When it comes to the individual, or what we perceive as the individual, as you can look at this little diagram here, and what I wanted to use was just the fact that you see this chart, and really we could keep going higher as you see soul, and there's other souls connected to one particular soul. And just like we have kids, maybe you have 2 sons and a daughter, or 1 daughter and 1 son. Now, at one point in time, their physical bodies were in you and your spouse. But now they're a distinct individual. And then they'll have kids, maybe, let's hope. And again, maybe they'll have grandkids and great-grandkids and great-grandkids. These bodies all came from somewhere. They were all part of something else at some point in time, but now they're a unique expression themselves of a different combination of different DNAs. It's the same thing when it comes to souls. And that's something that may be hard to wrap our heads around. And that's something that I do meditate on often.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's, all the parts of the ocean just being broken up in little drops. So everything might appear separate, but it's the same.
Absolutely. The wind comes and sweeps up water particles. They form into the clouds move over the land. They rain it down. It goes into the rivers run back to the ocean yet again. And so you have, perhaps the allegory of the cosmic Big Bang and cosmic contraction at some point in time of consciousness itself. And again, this is just another reflection on the as above, so below. So I thought this was nice. What matters is that we choose to listen and take action in living the light of our cosmic mastery as stewards of a new earth, a new human. What we've been told we are is not what we really are. And the potential that we've been given by the controllers in this world is not even close to what our true potential is. So we need to rewrite all that in a much more grand, expansive manner.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay to go out and learn things and read books and move and try to get a deeper understanding of those things that you're more drawn to. But always understand that everything doesn't have to be written in stone. Everything is movable. You're here for your own experience, not what somebody else has written for you.
Absolutely. So as always, guys, thank you so much. We couldn't do it without your support over on Patreon, where you could become part of the Patreon family as well. And basically, there's different ranges from $1 a month, $5 a month, all the way on up. And also on Ko-Fi, where you could do a one-time donation or a monthly support in the form of coffees. May you guys be blessed by the true creator of this universe. Keep striving upwards. Much love. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.